word Dylan. Dylan's name. And I see another name. You're going to write all of the names that are on the chart up there?
What do you hope the children in your care will gain from being in your preschool program? Success? Respect for self and others? Happiness?
Let's change the soap.
Oh, you want to change the soap, Michaela? Michaela said her son to soap.
Mine's for that.
Uh-oh.
A love of learning?
On the computer, I did it.
You did it on the computer! To be friendly and sociable. To be healthy and well-adjusted.
And who are you making a cake for?
It's ice cream.
Ice cream. Oh, my favorite.
To be prepared for school.
Well, if it's not supposed to be 6, what's it supposed to be?
A 2.
2.
Like an S.
Would you like to do it, Jersey? Change it to a 2.
To have self-worth and self-esteem.
And squeeze real hard.
Get my tight.
Okay, you did it. There.
When facilitating trainings with adults, I often ask them, what are their goals for young children? Common answers are self-worth and self-esteem. As early childhood educators, the question then becomes, how do we instill self-esteem in young children? People often think that if they provide children with praise, that is a step towards self-esteem. So typical praise comments that are made by adults are things like, good job, way to go, beautiful picture, I love your shoes.
There you go, good boy.
And the challenge with this is that it actually is the adults evaluating something from the child and not the child being able to evaluate their own work, their own activities. So the self is taken away from the self-esteem. When adults use evaluative or judgmental comments with young children, it is usually with best intentions. Adults are trying to provide children with that point of self-esteem, thinking that if they provide the comments and they do the evaluation, that children will feel supportive. The question is there a different approach to be able to put it back in the children's hands and be able to provide that support?
Sometimes praise can have unintended effects. Praise can lessen self-motivation, which discourages problem-solving, discourage risk-taking, make children dependent on adults for approval, take away children's power to evaluate their work, cause anger and resentment when used to manage or manipulate. Beth Marshall, director of High Scope's Demonstration Preschool, looks at these first 2 effects in more depth.
Let's look first at how praise can lessen children's self-motivation and may discourage problem-solving and risk-taking. When children are constantly praised for performing tasks, they may be less likely to try new ideas beyond what they already know they can do. When children are constantly praised for their work, they may be afraid to challenge themselves. What if I won't be complimented on my new ideas? Or worse, what if I'm criticized for the risk-taking or the choices that I'm making? When we tell children, good job, we unintentionally stifle their motivation for excelling. If a child encounters a problem in play, they may feel there is no need to solve that problem because they've already been told they've done a good job. Or they may feel if they try something new and fail, they'll no longer have the status of having done a good job.
Many people are surprised when I tell them that praise can cause resentment, anger, and competition amongst children when used as a behavior management tool. Sometimes we as adults, we use praise as a behavior management tool to try to manipulate children to do things that we want them to do. In my early years of teaching, I can remember I used to try to get children to clean up because I had a problem with them not wanting to clean up at cleanup time. So I would do things and say, way to go, good job, I'm glad you're cleaning up, to try to get them to clean up. I even used to sing a song to help motivate them. Well, I did that song in hopes that other children would hear their names and want their names called too to clean up. But what I was really actually doing, in fact, was using praise as a manipulation tool and really just creating competition and anger and resentment amongst the children in the classroom. And that's not really what I wanted to do. So, you know, I was trying to nurture a classroom where they would have that sense of community. But by doing that, I was actually breaking down that sense of community. When I talk to early childhood educators that have been through the training about this praise versus encouragement, it brings up a lot of vivid, strong memories for them. And they think about when they were being praised as a child and now how they still have those vivid memories as adults. And a lot of them are negative feelings and not so good feelings, and it really has an effect on them right now as adults.
I realized as I sat there and we were listening to the judges that even though cognitively I knew what was going on and I knew the role play and I knew what people were looking for, that there was still a part of me, as much as I've talked about using encouragement with children, with teachers, and in my classroom, that was waiting for the praise. And I realized how deep instilled these things get into us. And even though we think that we're secure, we've been molded by our experiences. And so what kind of experiences am I giving children when I praise them? And how do I do it subconsciously? You know, when the child comes up and shows me their shoes, what do I say? And am I giving that child worth by praising their shoes? Or am I giving them worth by praising who they are? And really, and that's not, and I don't do that with praise. And I think coming from a place in the South where we talk about praise all the time, it's always how pretty you are, how sweet you are, if you're a good girl, if you're a bad girl. There's all these labels that I've grown up with and that I see that are part of my vocabulary. And I'm really having to take some internal inventory at how to take that out and fill it up with stuff that's more meaningful. Not just for myself, but for children and for my own children.
The show is a ballet show. Oh, look at the pirouettes. Oh, I see turns. Oh, jumps. Jetés.
The following 3 encouragement strategies help children develop a desire to learn because it is self-rewarding. These 3 strategies are: participate in children's play, encourage children to describe their efforts, ideas, and products, acknowledge children's work and ideas by making non-judgmental descriptive comments.
Describing children's works and efforts was very particularly challenging for me when I first started using these encouragement strategies. But I had a very eye-opening experience that I would like to share with you. As a Head Start teacher, there was a child in my Head Start class that was drawing a picture. And I walked up to him with all of the enthusiasm that I could muster, and I said to him, "What a beautiful picture." Well, he looked at me with a sadness in his eyes and said, "It's not supposed to be beautiful. It's a monster." I felt really bad at that point, so I tried to redeem myself by looking at him and saying, "Oh, well, tell me about your monster." Well, he looked even sadder at that point and said, "Can't you see that he's mad and angry?" At this point, I just wanted to go somewhere and sit down because I really felt bad that, you know, at this point, what I said to the child is that I didn't really pay attention to what he was doing. So what really made me feel bad is what I saw in his eyes was the fact that he thought that he was not even important enough to me for me to even look at what he was actually doing. Had I taken the time to really look at his drawing and to make comments about those large, black, huge strokes that I'll never forget, we could have had a conversation, the two of us, about how angry this kid was, and we could have problem solved and worked through that anger. But instead, I wasted an opportunity with an empty praise statement as, "What a beautiful picture." And this was truly a lesson learned for me. one that I will never forget, one that led me to believe that these encouragement strategies were important enough for me to take a look at, because I never ever wanted to make a child feel the way that child felt that day. Well, that was about, 3 years ago?
About 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And how times have changed.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot since then. One of the things I learned is when we praise children, I don't think they get too much out of praise. They don't learn that much. So I have learned over the years that praise versus encouragement is a big difference. And now I am a big advocate of high school and the encouragement part. And I think that that's good. I know that it's good for our children. Our children, I see a big difference in the children now and the children we had 3 years ago. Because I was watching a video and I was saying praises.
Yeah.
And now I would change that. So I would encourage the teachers and the parents not to use so much praise, but to encourage. And that will go a long way in their life.
Let's recap and summarize what we've learned about encouragement thus far. Participate in children's play. First, be silent, observe, understand, and listen. Then, become a partner in their play. Imitate their actions. Use the materials in the same way they do, and assume a role in their pretend play. Encourage children to describe their efforts, ideas, and products. Ask open-ended, genuine questions about what they're doing and what they're thinking. Acknowledge children's work and ideas by making non-judgmental descriptive comments. Talk about what children are doing and be specific in describing what you see. Focus on the child's process or work, not the child.
Check out your heart. I've never seen such a colorful heart. How many colors did you use in that?
Using the 3 simple strategies highlighted in this video presentation will equip the children in your preschool classrooms to have pride in who they are and what they do.
9 different colors? That's like a rainbow heart. Very colorful. And look at your name.
They will be intrinsically motivated to learn, explore, and accept challenges that will lead them to greater tasks and higher heights. Isn't that what we want for our children?